Okay, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. This is Derek Lowkowitz. I'd like to welcome you to our special partner event showcasing the WiSys inventory management solution. Say that 3 times real fast. Joining me today from the Donis Group is Jay and Bob, as well as we have Bob Hawk here from WiSys. Before I get things started, I wanted to go ahead and go over a couple of quick housekeeping items. First and foremost, we are recording today's presentation, so I've got everybody in the attendance or audience list on mute. That way we can keep all the background noise out of the way. You will still have the ability to interact with us by using the questions tab in the GoToWebinar interface. There's also you also have the ability to raise your hand in there if you need immediate attention. Other than that, obviously we've set aside some time towards the end of the presentation to go over those questions that you might have. So definitely don't be shy. We are here to answer your questions. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the agenda for the day and set some expectations. We're going to do, obviously, doing introductions now, and then I will hand things over to Bob for go over a little bit about who the Donis Group is. He will then hand over to Bob to do the quick WiSys overview and the demonstration of the product. We'll do the Q&A session, follow that up with some next steps and get you on to the rest of your day. So with that, go ahead, Bob.
Oh, great. Hi, my name is Bob Donald, and I'd like to welcome you to our seminar for the improved inventory. A little bit about the Donis Group. We started in 1996. So we've been offering ERP services throughout the country, basically. We've been working on Macola products since 1998, providing all kinds of ERP solutions, as well as using the WiSys solution when they became available. We have a combined experience of over 85 years among our staff of all things to do with ERP, including all the inventory control that you'll be hearing about today. We are a partner with WiSys. We've been with them since they started their business, and we're very happy with the product, so we're very proud to show it to you today. So with that, I'd like to pass it on to Bob.
Bob, you should have control.
All right, let me just push a button or two here and we'll get started. Hi, everyone, I'm Bob Hawk. Today, we're going to go over the WiSys applications and how they can help you with your inventory. And I just wondered if many of you might really have a global business system. That's a term we use here. A global system helps you get your 10,000 steps by walking around in the warehouse to see what's out there. That happens sometimes because your inventory doesn't match what's in the computer. So I see that all the time with customers I talk with. They have their Macola business system. They're looking at how much inventory do they have of a certain item, and sometimes it's right and sometimes it's not. So you end up spending time getting up out of your chair and walking out to see what's really in stock. So global is let's go back and look. We're going to try and figure out how to avoid that. So when I think about global systems, what happens that would cause your business system to be off? What are the problems? Sometimes you have purchase orders that are not received in the system yet. They're not recorded. So they've come in, the receiving guys receive it, they put it to the side, and they forget to put the details in the business system, or they lose the paperwork. Sometimes you have inventory in the warehouse and it's misplaced. You think you know where it is, but it's somewhere else. So it doesn't show up until you do a physical. Another business case is the bills of material are close, but they're off. And so as you begin to work with your material and manufacture things, your absorption rate is plus or minus, and that ends up as a problem later when you're looking for material. And what about return material? Sometimes returns get returned, but they never get put back into inventory, and they're out there, and you find them when you do a physical. And then there's your freelance salespeople that are giving away a product as a promotion, buy one, get one free. And somebody orders 100, they give them 200. And next thing you know, they didn't do a transaction to show that. And then there's defective or expired material that may be disposed of or sitting there, but you can't use it. And you've got a problem because that material either shows up as good or it's been disposed of, but nobody did a transaction to get rid of it. And unfortunately, there's shrinkage, and some of it is theft. So you have to watch out for all those things, but that does make your system cause you to go back and look. So this is me when I get dressed up. I'm the director of sales at WiSys, and I've been working with the Donis Group for quite a while, and we have many good customers together. So it's always fun to meet new ones. There's quite a few here listed. We have over 500 customers now, many different industries: food, metals, material, pharma, plastic injection, things like that. Many times the products that we're working with need to have lot control or a serial number. And you really want to know where they are in the inventory. So we're using bin control. Those are some of the techniques that people use to know exactly where inventory is. And lot control many times is required by the FDA or traceability. And we're going to look at some of those conditions today in our Macola demonstration. If you're on Macola progression, you can use that with WiSys. If you're using the ES edition, we work with that, and also the newer Macola 10 product. The applications from WiSys, when you buy them, you can plug them in and begin to use them right away, assuming that you get things set up correctly. You may need to add wireless networking in your warehouse and things like that, add some printers. But WiSys is designed, as we call it, to work out of the box. But many times I hear from customers that, hey, I really like this, but can you make it do this? And that's where the flexibility comes in. Our consulting team and the Donis folks, they can look at a business process and they can say, you know what, if we just collected this information first before we collected that information, it would kill two birds with one stone. And we can actually change the way WiSys works. We call that tailoring. Some people call it modifying, or using it with being able to change it a little bit. And we don't have to call somebody up in India to make a change to a program. We can just do it on the fly in the system, and that becomes your specific tailored app. So anytime you get an update, we'd update the standard product, but the things that have been tailored remain unto themselves and they never get overwritten. So it gives us the ability to get started right away with an out-of-the-box solution and then tweak it to make it work better for you. So you don't have to be stuck with the way we designed it. You can say, I'd rather do it like this, and we can respond to that. The applications can either be purchased as a named user where you get everything, like Macola 10, if you have Macola 10. When you buy Macola 10, you get just about everything. And then with WiSys, you can buy it as a named user, or you can get it modular still. Many of our customers have a modular solution. They say, I don't want anything to do with manufacturing. I don't need that. I don't want the shipping solution. I don't need that. I just want the WMS. So you can start with just one module and get some handhelds and go like that. So you can get the all-in solution, or you can get it modular. If you look at it from a modular point of view, this is the WMS module, the distribution module. And these are the things that are inside that. So today, you'll see me do a PO receipt. You're going to see me do an inventory cycle count and printing labels and things like that. For customers that go out into the warehouse, there's also a pallet module. It's really a packaging layer. That's something Macola doesn't do today, and WiSys can add that capability to have a pallet and track it within the warehouse. On the manufacturing side, WiSys will help you with production order processing or shop floor control. Today, I'm going to do the material side of the work for shop floor, but just understand we can do it today with POP and that sort of thing. And we can also collect labor. For those of you that want to collect labor on transactions, we can do that. I'm going to keep it simple today on the material side. And shipping, today you're going to see me build a shipment, and I'm going to go ahead and relieve inventory and build a shipment and ship it out. You'll see that we have a desktop shipping solution over here. These are your shipping methods. And I'm going to do an LTL shipment today. But if you had the UPS system, WiSys has a fully integrated shipping system with UPS and FedEx and USPS. And that's something that you can add to your system. If there's a need to tailor the solution, we would use the design tools. This is something that comes with the application to make design changes. So if you wanted to add a text field here, then you can add the text field here. And then later on, when you save it, it would show up on this screen over here. The text field might be temperature. Maybe you need to take the temperature of product that comes out of a reefer truck as you receive it. You could record that and it will become part of the data model for your PO receipt. There's also analytics. WiSys has the ability to do graphics so you can actually see where you are with your process during the day. Printing picking tickets, going after what's been shipped and what's been billed. You can see where you are at a blink of an eye. So how does this really work? So the application runs on a scan gun. This is Agility Mobile running on a Windows device. I'm going to show you an Android device also, but this particular Windows device collects information. Anytime you see this blue line, you can do a lookup, or you can just type on the keyboard. You just scan, type, or look up, and it makes a decision. Is this a valid purchase order? So in Macola, you know you have to create a purchase order and release it. If it's a released PO and printed, then you can actually receive against it. So this is the idea of getting validation into the hand of your worker. If that PO was not a valid PO, maybe he typed in 8050 and not 8051, it would beep and say you made a bad decision, try again. The same thing's true here. This item has to be on the PO. And so when I do the receipt, I'm going to scan, type, or look up the item. I'm going to catch the lot number, and I'm going to enter a quantity, and I'm going to immediately get a label. And that's part of the WiSys solution, label printing. Anytime you need a label or a document with a barcode, this can either be a WiSys label or a crystal label. WiSys delivers the ability to do crystal documents, or you can also use our built-in label designer. You don't have to buy that as a second solution. It comes with it. So a lot of people want to know, if I have a warehouse system, how's it going to help me? In terms of time saving, we want to look at automating manual tasks. So WiSys, part of the WiSys solution will help you decide which orders can be picked. Where do I have material available that I can go after the right orders? What if I want it to be easy to manage my employees, being able to let them do transactions easier, more efficiently, and more accurately? That's a big help to a worker. Measuring performance, you just saw a dashboard a minute ago, but the dashboards are really those benchmark or metrics that are used out in the warehouse to see how productive people are. So measuring people is a way to help you manage your time. Lowering labor costs. How many times have you had somebody just walking the warehouse looking for material? That's always kind of a pain, doing the old shuffle out in the warehouse, not just getting up from the purchasing desk to walk out to see if we have the material, but what about the worker actually looking for the material that they want? What if the scanning tool could show them and direct them to the right bin to go get the material? Improving timing. What if you're trying to plan for shipments or arrival of product? You want to know when the material is coming in and when it needs to go out. Process optimization, as I mentioned a minute ago, what about directed? Getting rid of redundant movement. So the scanner is going to tell you exactly where to go. And recovering from errors. No worker in the warehouse wants the boss to come out, tap them on the shoulder and say, you're making mistakes. If I make a mistake on the scanner, it's going to tell me and let me self-correct. Improving quality. If I use the scan gun to pick against an order, it's going to tell me exactly, is this the right item or not? We want people scanning barcodes of items that they're going to ship or issue to a work order, so we make sure we're actually issuing the right item rather than visually, well, I think it's the right stuff. And improving supplier relations. If you have the right stuff in inventory, you're going to know when you really need material and not be just guessing at it. Visibility. That's a big deal. Visibility for your supply chain. Everybody has back order problems right now, getting the right material, eliminating a fist fight out in the warehouse for salespeople trying to get material. You know, why have people arguing over stuff when you know it's already been allocated to an order? It's the way it has to be, first in, first out, or you're going to have to change it so this premier customer gets the material before somebody else. You know, that's the way it is. People have agreements. If your scorecard with Walmart is screwed up, you're going to lose the business. So they're going to get the business first. So without further ado, let's go out and do some transactions. So let's get some work done. So I'm going to minimize my screen here. We'll come back to it in a minute. You're now looking at my WiSys Macola desktop. And we're going to do a little introduction here. I'm going to open the scan gun software. This is what we call Agility Mobile. I'm going to log into Agility Mobile. And when I log into Agility Mobile, you're going to see an application that looks like this. This is an RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol application. It can run on an Android scanner or it can run on a Windows scanner. So if you're a current WiSys customer and you have a whole bunch of Windows scanners out there, don't worry, they're going to keep working. You can use them. And then if you have a brand new application on an Android, you can run the RDP app on that. Over here, this is the actual Android application. I'm going to go ahead and come over here and you'll be able to see me. This is, you know, it's a little hard to see here, but that is the application that you're looking at. And I can just type in my name here, Joe, enter the number 1, and it's going to log in. And you're going to see it has a similar but newer look and feel, more like an Android app look and feel. So we'll come back to that in just a minute. And I'm going to open another application called the Agility Explorer. So we created applications in the warehouse. WiSys stands for wireless systems. And when we have wireless systems in the warehouse, we needed new technology to look at real-time data. So if I click on this analytic here, I can look at my sales orders. And if I look at my sales orders in the system today, I'm going to be looking at this item called ABC. And I know that the ABC is a binned and lotted item. So that's my order that I'm going to work on today. I'm going to need to receive some raw material, and I'm going to need to manufacture this item before I can ship it. My quantity to ship is 0. And so when we have quantities become available, you'll see that number will change. Okay, in our outline, let's go to the outline for just a second. And I'm going to do a PO receipt. I'm going to do a put away transaction. I'm going to do a document. I'm going to show you some documents that we're going to work on. And we're going to look at transfers, some cycle counting. I'm going to issue material to a work order. I'm going to actually do some production against a work order. I'm then going to do directed staging. So once I have that material and I put it in the warehouse somewhere, when I have my pick ticket, I'll be able to go after that material. I'm going to build a shipment, and then I'm going to ship it. And then we're going to come back and pretend we have a problem in the field, and we're going to do lot trace. So we can easily look up what's happened. So let's just take a look. I'm going to begin with a place that you're probably familiar with. So in terms of introductions, I've shown you a couple of apps from WiSys, but let's go from a place of comfort, and we'll take a look at a sales order. So here's our sales order in the system. And when I looked at that analytic, it's telling us the status of that order, and it's a booked order. So we're going to take a look at a booked order, and then we're going to work on that order. And then let's go over here to a purchase order. And my purchase order today is, let's see, where did it go? My purchase order is 8081. So my purchase order 8081 is for 2,000 items, and this item is cleverly named C, binned lotted item. So today, to make an ABC item, I need an A binned item, a B binned item, and a C binned item. So that's very complicated, I know, but it'll just give us a place for demonstration. So my problem today is, let me go look at this particular item, and I'll go down here, and I want to look at that particular item. And you'll see that, many times we're running items in the warehouse, and we have problems with items. So this particular item is what my work order is in the shop floor. But if I look at, can I actually make this item, it's going to show me that for the item I'm going to make, that I am short on material. So we call this can build. So you may run MRP, you may run this or that, you may have all kind of reports, but in the warehouse, when you want to build something, sometimes it's that last little bit, do I have material to make something? Well, it just so happens that if I look at that item, C binned item, and if I look at it, I have a purchase order that we just looked at a minute ago. So this purchase order, 8081, is in Macola. And when you use WiSys in Macola, one of the huge benefits is that WiSys is not different than Macola. WiSys is embedded and completely integrated with Macola. So there's no cutting and pasting, there's no synchronization, there's no import, export, or after the fact polling operation. When I do the transaction, it just happens immediately in Macola. So let's just come over here. And I told you we're going to start with a transaction for a PO receiving. So in terms of PO receiving, I may or I may not have a barcode. Now, in my case, in my business, when I create a purchase order in Macola, I send a copy over to the receiving people so that they have something to know that there's something coming in from an expected receipt. And I mentioned that if I type here 8083 and hit enter, you can see that if I make a mistake and that's not a released PO or the right thing, you're going to get a bad sound and a warning color to tell you to do it right. If I get it right by scanning or typing, it goes through and just goes to the next step. And it says, okay, let's receive something. If the product comes in with a barcode on it, maybe it's your barcode because you're big enough to tell somebody, ship me product with a barcode that I know it's my stuff. When you receive it, you can get your barcode to scan. It tells me, hey, you've never received it before. It's a new item. It's a warning to tell you that you've never put it at the dock before. So this is a setup feature. And it says when I do a PO receipt and take it off the truck, I'm going to receive it directly to the dock. And I think that's important. We get immediate visibility that we're bringing it in right off the truck, and it's going to show up at the dock, and everybody's going to know where it is. Now, when I receive it, I'm going to enter the lot number. Now, it may not be actually barcoded. So today, the lot number is going to be today's date, 20/21/11/18. And the quantity that I'm going to receive is 1,000. So I'll go ahead and do that. Now, before I do that, I want to talk about documents. There's a little printer icon down here. And you can see here that my printer is associated with my little zebra printer. So when I press the save button, it's going to save it and do the transaction in Macola. And in a single step, it's going to go ahead and it's going to print the barcode label. Now, you can see here, I have a printer. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And when I do that, hit the save button, you'll see that I get the label. So this is real time. I get the barcode label and I would label it and just stick it on the pallet, boom, right there on the pallet that I've just received. So that gives me the kill two birds with one stone operation. So it's kind of handy to be able to do that. If I do the same thing on the Android device, I think you can see that. There's my Android device. Come down here. And I'm going to use my finger to scroll, and I'm going to touch PO receiving. And I'm going to do the same thing with the Android device. You'll see it looks a little different. The item, and then I'm going to scan the barcode or enter it, and I'm going to catch the quantity. And it'll print a label for me just the same. So now I have two barcode labels for the two pallets. So I may need to work with those pallets now. The next operation is to get it from the dock, and I want to get it to the warehouse. So I'm going to take the first product and I'm going to do a put away transaction. So the item at hand is the C binned item, and it's sitting at the dock. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to scan the bin, and now I'm going to physically take it into the warehouse on my tow motor or my little truck, and I'm going to put it into a bin that I want to use. And it's never been there before. And so I'm going to put a quantity of 1,000, which is on that first pallet, into that bin. So if I were to look in Macola now, you'd see at Z000 bin, I have material. I'm going to do the same thing again. And this time I'm going to put it in Z100. And we're going to put the other 1,000 over there. Okay. So just to prove that that worked, let's just come back and we'll do a view, a multi-level item view. We'll look at the item. We'll look at the location that we want to work on. And you can see here, here's the serial lot numbers. And it's showing us that I have this lot number, which is how many 1,000 fit in that bin, Z000. I think I can make that a little bigger. There, maybe that's easier to see. So you can see that just by doing a lookup, I can actually see where that material is. Go ahead and close this. And let's go back to Macola for just a second and just look at something that you've done before probably a million times. So we'll go to inventory, go to multi-level item view, and we'll look at that item. And in terms of where is that item, what does Macola think? We can just look here. So it's the same data. It's displayed either on the handheld or in the WiSys desktop in the same way. It just makes it easy to look at things. And really the advantage of looking at WiSys is I can take a look at the entire inventory more like a spreadsheet view rather than maybe just one screen at a time in Macola. Okay, so we've done a receipt and done some label printing. We did a put away and that sort of thing. Let's just take a second to go under the hood and cancel out of here. I'm going to go into File, Options, and under File Options, under the Setup stuff, we have Documents. So documents are a place where we have places of transaction, maybe like Event Manager. And when I have an event like purchase order receiving, and I have a purchase order, PO receiving, if I open this up, I can then see different documents that are associated here. And so this is an agility label. So that label that I printed used the agility print engine. And this is a public label as opposed to a private label. A public label would be used on every item. A private label would be used on specific items. You know, maybe you have big items that need a big label. Some items are very small, they need a small 2x2 label. You can create different labels for different items. And that's true for customers. Different labels might be a requirement for different customers. So when I click this and click open, you're going to then see what's under the hood. Here is just my simple little label that you saw me print earlier at the time of PO receiving. And if you know your Macola database, you can see here, these are the different names of fields on the different Macola tables that you want to drop in on your document. So if you're uncomfortable with this type of idea, you can get the Donis group, one of the consultants there to help you, or you can work with a WiSys person and we can make changes for you too. So that's kind of a under the hood issue. And you know, later on, let's come back and we'll look at one of the shipping options. Here is a bill of lading. I want to look at a bill of lading document. Maybe I'll look at the packing list. So you can see here's a crystal document, if you're a crystal person. And that's my default printer. So this is not going to print on my little zebra printer. But you can see here's a packing list. And here are the, you know, if you want to get into the design of it, this is what it would look like. When you preview it, this is what you see when you preview it. But you're going to see me print one of these out when I do a shipment later. So these different documents and document types are where we help you with compliance. So if customers give you rules and regulations, when you ship me an order, I need this particular label or document to come with it. That's really how we do that. And that gives you a lot of leverage so that you don't have to tell somebody, hey, we're going to ship to this customer, go over to this PC and bring up Word and print out a bunch of labels and hope you get it right. We're going to get it right every time because they're stored in the database. Okay, now that we have that material, we might want to do a transfer in the warehouse. Let's come back and look at doing a transfer. So we'll close here. So items in the warehouse, if you turn on bin control, you know that we have issues related to that. We want to do transactions in the warehouse, and we want to skip the whole part about having to write them down on a piece of paper. So as an example, I will take a specific item here, my C item, and I just hit enter for my default warehouse, and I want to transfer it from Z100. And again, I would just want to do a warehouse to warehouse within the warehouse move. And I'm going to transfer that, and I'm going to put it in another bin, and I'm going to say yes. And then I have to tell it the lot number that I'm moving because it is a lotted item. And what's the quantity? I'm going to move 500 just because I want to from one bin to another. So I'm going to move it from this same warehouse, that bin, same warehouse to Z200. I'm just going to split it. So now that I've done that, again, if I come back and look at the multi-level, look at the item in the my main warehouse, and you can see here are the bins. It was at the dock. The dock's been emptied, and I have some at Z000 and some in 100 and 200 now. So the simple mundane things that happen in the warehouse all the livelong day are things that we do on the scan gun that go really quick. Okay, let's talk about cycle counting, because this time of the year is when we get a lot of calls about, can I do cycle counting? So in WiSys, let's come over here and we'll look at another component. This is a component in WiSys called tag status. And so over here, this is my batch that I created the other day. And I have all my A items on this batch. So I just have a simple little batch here. Here's my A binned item, and I want to count it. And you can see here it's giving me variance information. So the nice thing about WiSys is I can just drop this to Excel if I need it to have a worksheet, or I can just work with it on the scan gun. Maybe I just am going bin to count things. But the idea is to count very quickly. The customers that I talk to that used to spend a week counting the warehouse now tell me they can count the whole warehouse in a half a day. Well, let's just see what that looks like. So on the scan gun, I'm going to do a cycle count by bin. So I'm going to get my batch. I could scan it or look it up. And then basically what I'm going to do is go to bin to bin to bin to bin to bin in that region of where I'm counting, and I'm going to count stuff. So it wants to know what bin I'm going to count. So I'm going to start with that bin, and it wants an item, and I need my A binned item. And so I walk up to that bin, and there's something there, and I'm going to scan it. I'm going to scan the item, and I'm going to scan the lot number. And you can see here that it automatically found 1079. This is your tag number in Macola, 1079. If it didn't find that, you would get an extra tag. So here I'm going to go ahead and count all 1,000, and I'll go ahead and update it. Now, if I come over here, I can hit this refresh button or just simply hit F5 like you'd refresh a screen. And you can see here now, there is the 1,000 that have been counted. So if I can count one item, I can count 1,000. And what did I do? I actually did the count. I didn't have to write it down. I would probably have a sticker that I would stick on the box that I just counted to know that I've already counted that item. I don't need to count that box again. And I'd move on to the next item. And guess what? Nobody in accounting now has to pop up the Macola screen and enter the 1,000 number that I counted. So there's a lot of labor savings and paper reduction by using the handheld scanner. Okay, let's move over now and start to talk about production. So I'm going to go to the shop floor options, and let's just look at one of the shop floor items. Now each of these, these are components. Each one of these components can be granted or taken away from a person. I'm going to use this one here, the shop floor master list. And in this case, my shop order number that I'm going to work on is 113. So when I look at this shop order here, this is what I'm doing. This is a released shop order. You can see that I have none complete. I can actually drill into the shop order if I want to look at it, but I do have my operational detail right here. Here is operation 10, 20, 30, and my Y count point. So if I'm doing material operations, I do them in a different app to do them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Today I'm going to work on the materials side of this. So let's go into the shop order itself. And we can look at the material. So these are the materials that I need to issue to the job. So my shop order is for 432, and I need to issue each one of these as I go. All right, so let's use the handheld scanner. So I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to hit the drop down, go to shop floor. And the first thing I want to do is issue material. So let me show you my document first. So I'm going to turn on my camera again. I want to show you that WiSys has some very nice shop packet detail. You can see here at the top is my barcoded shop number. Here's my finished good item. And here are the raw materials that I need and the operations down below. There's also a simplified pick document that if I need to just have that for material picking, it's going to tell me the items that I need. Today I'm going to skip the directed staging part of that and just work on the material side. So let's go ahead and do that over here. All right, so there's my shop order. I need to scan something. So I'm going to scan my shop order, and it tells me that I need to issue an item. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so it wants to know, I'm going to issue that item. It wants to know where am I going to get it. So you know we just went out there and did some transactions. So I'm going to go out there, and I have to scan the bin that I'm going to go after. And let's just look at that. And you can see here, I was making a mistake. I was going after the C item when I thought I should have been going after the A item. So even a pro like me is going to make mistakes. So I have to watch my document to eliminate the error. So let's go after the A item. And the A item is over here. And the A item bin number, or the lot number, I'm going to catch that. And then the quantity is 432. So I'm going to issue that. Let's go after the B item, see if I can get that right. And the B item, is in B100. Well, I thought it was in B100, and it's B100. Let's just double check. So there again, I'm making a mistake. I'm looking at the C item. I'm a bonehead. I need to get the right document here. So I'm just going to clear, go back to the item. That's the C item and the B item. And the B item is down here. And where, oh, my B item is over here. All right, and I'm going to hit the B item. And I'm going to catch the bin and the lot. And the quantity again is 432. Okay, so I did the A and the B. Now I got C to do. So I'm learning on the job. And shop floor, again, lets me over or under issue. It's just really how you choose to do things. And there can be exceptions like warnings and things like that that you can turn on. So on the material side of what I've been doing, I just did my material work, and the quantities issued now went from 0 to 432. Okay? So there we go. Now, in terms of production reporting, I'm going to do a reporting on the scan gun. And shop floor finished good reporting works pretty much the same way. You scan your shop order, and you're making this item. And I wanted to mention that I'm using a function in WiSys called lot builder. Lot builder shows me the first 8 characters here are showing me my shop order number. See the 113 here matches 113 up here. And then the rest of this is the Julian date. So it's a little trick that we have in WiSys called lot builder. And within the 15 digits that Macola gives you, you can parse that out the way you want to do it. And in this case, I'm going to manufacture the complete quantity. And I'm going to hit enter. And then it wants to go ahead and do the printing of the finished goods for me. And you'll see here, I'll get that label again. So here's my finished good label. And it makes it pretty convenient to stick that on your finished goods. All right, now that the finished goods are in the warehouse, I may want to put those away. So here, I might do a transfer. So we'll just come back here and do a transfer. And the finished good is that item. Again, from my main location. It's in the finished good bin. So when I make something, it has the ability to know exactly where it is at the time you make it. And then you want to take it and put it somewhere. So I'm going to actually transfer it to the warehouse into F000, and it wants to know the lot number for sure, and the quantity is 432. So now the finished good has been produced. It's a finished good, it's gone through quality, and then I transferred it into the warehouse for storage. And you can imagine that the whole goal of buying stuff and producing stuff is so we can actually ship it. And that's how you make money. So if I come back over here to the WiSys application, I'm going to show you an application on the desktop that we call Order Pick Management. And Order Pick Management lets you do something by looking at all the items in the warehouse. And so for instance here, this is my specific order that I have, and I want to print a pick ticket for this item. So in general, throughout the day, you may be receiving items in that you just want to buy and ship. You may be producing things with shop floor or POP, and that's a production receipt, and that will update your finished goods so you could sell those. Now, one of the biggest problems is you really want to know what's available to ship. Well, just by clicking this, I can turn on the ability to fill back orders. So you'll notice here that when I entered my sales order, it's make to order item, I didn't have anything available, so it set the quantity to 0. And then as I filled that by creating the material, it now had the material available. So I just want to fill all the back orders. And so when I do that, it'll go out and just walk down every one of these orders behind the scenes. It's opening up Macola, so to speak, going to every item on those orders and filling as many back orders as possible. I was on site one day with a lady that was working on filling orders. What orders can they ship today? She had 3,200 plus orders in the system, and it took her over 3 hours every day to figure out what they had material for to ship. She had to go through stuff and figure it out. I showed her this and she gave me a hug. She had so much more time that she was going to save. So here I just selectively go after the orders that I want to work on now by checking these boxes, and then I just print the pick ticket, or I can gang print a bunch. Now I'm going to print them to the screen, but you can see here that it's telling me that this particular item has stock available at this location and bin. This is, without even using the WiSys handheld, this is an improvement to many companies, basically a poor man's directed pick ticket telling you where the inventory is. I click cancel and it says, did it print correctly? And it did. And then it drops off this grid. So now the order is at a status 4, and my status 4 order is available to go after. Now on the scan gun, let's just go over here and work on the scan gun again. I'm going to do directed staging. So I have my sales order, my pick ticket. I'm going to scan it. And you'll notice it does the same thing that the piece of paper does. It's telling me visually that this order needs 432. Now I'm not going to ship it yet. I'm going to do what's called staging. I'm going to go into the warehouse, and you can imagine if I had 50 items on this order, this would be really cool if it told me where to go to get each item in a bin trip order. So this is a wave pick. It's sending me into the warehouse, waving me through the warehouse, starting in the back and moving me alphanumerically through the warehouse. And it tells me to it's validating that this item needs to be moved to the staging area against this sales order. So I'm going to pick the item, and I'm going to actually scan that barcode that I printed with the finished good. And it wants to know, it's asking me it's confirming, where are you getting it, Bob? I'm getting it out of that bin, and what lot number. And really, these are all easy things to do. And I'm going to move all 432 to the staging bin. And it says you're done. So you can imagine item after item, item after item, telling you where to go. And even if you don't have enough in one bin, it'll tell you where to go to get the rest of it in the bin tour as I go. So this is called directed order staging. So now you have Bob, the material handler, and he's going to take all that material on the little hand truck, and he's staging it to the staging area. And then Bob is going to use an application to build the shipment. So I'm going to open up another application, and then we're going to build the shipment. So this is our picking and packing application. And what this is going to do is, let's start with something that's already done so you can see how we're going to end up. So I'm just going to pick this order. And you can see here, this is a shipped order already. I just want to show you what's going to happen. So we have pallet 1, pallet 2, pallet 3. The status of this order is shipped. But I have pallets and item. This is the item that's on that pallet. This is the item that's on that pallet. And these are the 2 items that are on this pallet. So our world today is a little bit more simple in that we have 1 item and we're going to put 144 items in each pallet because that's all that's going to fit. So let's go ahead and clear this, and we'll come back to this in a minute. We're going to use the handheld. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a shipment. I'm going to do pack pallets. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit enter and create a new shipment. I'm going to scan my sales order, and then I'm going to scan the item that goes against that sales order. And it says, and where are you going to get it? Well, we know it's in the shipping bin, shipping stage bin. And what's the lot number? And then it wants the quantity. Well, pallets are a certain size. They can only hold so much material, 144. So I'll save that. And there's an option to print a pallet label if I want to do that. In this case, I'm going to do the same thing over again. Here's our pallet shipment number, 436. Let's come over here and look at 436. So if you're the shipping manager and your guys are out picking and building shipments, or maybe you're in customer service and you really want to know, is sales order 995 really going to ship today? You can actually watch me building a shipment in real time. And you'll know if that order is really going to go. So what I need to do is hit new pallet. It's the same order. Could be a different item, but it's not in this case. Where am I getting it? I've already staged it, the lot number, and the quantity. And again, if we just refresh this screen, you'll see here I'm building the shipment in real time. And I'm going to go a little faster so we finish on time. And I'm going to do a new pallet and scan the item in lot 144. So now my order is built. And all I have to do is when the truck arrives, I don't pre-print my paperwork. I wait till the truck shows up and I just push the LTL button. And it says, what's the truck line? Roadway, 123. And I hit print. And I get my packing list. And then I'll get my bill of lading, all automatic. And the shipment's done. So 436 is complete. It's the status of shipped. If I look in Macola, let me just come over here to the orders. And order status. And you can see here the order header shows me that we've shipped it. I confirm ship that. And then I have the line items detail right here. This is the trailer number, trailer, and all the rest of the details right there. Okay, so that's our shipment. And then finally, I'm going to try and end up on time here. I'm going to do a little bit on lot trace. And we're going to start with the item. And I did this before, and I need to actually look it up. And ABC. Here's my item. And I'm going to do this. Oh, this is the lot number. That's what I want. And again, ABC. Okay. So if I look at what's happened, the WiSys lot trace pulls together all the transactions that have happened for this lot number right here. This lot number shows me the shop order and the date and time that I produced it. Down here, if I look at this, I can see the particular sales order. This is the OE part of this. Up at the top, there's a different dialogues. When I'm on the OE application, it shows me the order entry dialog. When I'm in the shop order, it takes me to the shop order dialog. And so I could look here and I could drill down on the material that was used on this particular shop order. And I could actually find out which one of these components and lot number was used to make this shop order, really drawing all that information together for you quickly. So here's the lot number, the specific lot number here. Oh, it's this particular lot number for this item, and that's today's date. So if we go and reverse search that, and we want to go back into here, we can clear this out, and we'll put in today's date. And do that, and I can see the PO that actually came in on. And here's the PO dialog. And I can reprint that. If I have to give this to an auditor, I could say, here's the PO that was used to receive that material, that supplier. And then down here, this is pretty handy. It shows me that I can put all this material now on hold. Anything that's left in the building, I can do a quality hold on that material, so I can't use it anywhere else. Well, let's go ahead and that's really the finished part of my presentation. I don't know, Derek, I have just another slide here. What we did, and these are the expectations, having the ability to get it right and in stock, faster fulfillment, inventory accuracy, timeliness, and a lot less paperwork, connected processes, receiving, barcode label printing, being able to find a product in the warehouse, lot tracking. These are the expectations I think that we all should shoot for to having a more coordinated, faster warehouse. Derek, are you still there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you sound good.
Okay, good. Sorry, I had to switch out headset. My other one decided to go out on me midstream there. So, and I didn't really have a chance to test it. So anyway, great presentation, Bob. Thanks for walking us through all that. That's, I love the efficiencies that's built in with that, right? Anytime we can get people some time back in their day, and streamline their processes, the better, right? So love all of that. We did get a couple of questions in the queue. I think the one that popped up the most was related to, how is the product licensed or sold? Is it a per seat basis, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that you can get it on a modular basis, and then you can also get it as a named user. I do think it's simpler to buy it as a named user. If you're thinking you need 20 in the warehouse to get started, you can always start with 3 users to pilot what you're doing, and then you can roll that out. So I think it's fairly easy. As you expand and grow your system, the pricing of named user and modular pretty much come together at about 25 users as a break-even point. When you start with a modular solution, you buy the module. So most of the modules are around $6,000 each. So the warehouse module is $6,000. The framework, which is the tools, and the setup module is $6,000. And then your users individually on the ScanGun user license is $900. And then the desktop user license, it comes as a 5-pack for $2,500. So it's pretty easy to get started in the $20,000 range if you go modular. But if you start with the named user, you get everything at a much lower price. You get a named user price for $3,200 per user. So you can see for really less than $10,000, you can get started with about a 5-user system and grow from there. So it's really up to you how you want to get started. There's other items to think about, not only just the software cost, but really the consulting needed, the care services to help get it going. And also there's Wi-Fi in the warehouse. And some people just don't have barcodes on the shelves. So going through the process of barcoding the warehouse is something that you need to budget for. The Wi-Fi equipment and access points. Scan guns can be anywhere from $2,000 to $3,500 per scan gun. You can also use tablets. So if you wanted to use a Samsung tablet for $300, you could do that and hook up a Bluetooth scanner to a tablet. The other thing to think about it is I did a whole blog article about things to think about with scanners. If you drop a Samsung tablet for $300, you might shatter it. Even if you have a rubber bumper on it, that might not help. Tablets do get lost in the warehouse a little bit more than scan guns. Something to think about there. I did have a customer, a food bank, that actually ended up shipping their tablets to a customer, which was a little embarrassing. So things like that. But there's a lot of things. And Derek, the Donis team and myself, we have a nice worksheet where we can actually go through and plan out a whole engagement. Some people want to start with 3. Some people want to know what's the cost if I have 30. So we can figure all that out.
Yep, no, absolutely, and that makes sense, right? As it relates to most folks are obviously using a per user type of a situation, and then so it's a nice concurrent way to keep things simple, right?
Yeah.
One last question, since everybody's still staying with us, I'll keep that party going. Last one. We do EDI with Data Mason. Can this update the data needed to create an ASN?
It does. That's a good question. I can show you an example of that real quick. When you set up WiSys and you look at the process of shipping, there's an option here for EDI. And when I have Data Masons turned on, basically the mapping has been already taken care of. So if I have that option, the named user, by the way, would include that. And then the integration, once you set that up, you check this box here to integrate or not integrate. And then we know how to map all these variables into the ability for the ASN or the header line and different things like that. But this is the data. So when I actually did that process of shipping and shipping out those pallets, we actually send that data structure over to the Data Mason people. You don't have to import anything. It's already there. It's a great question.
All right, great. Well, with that, we're going to end with the great question. So can't get better than that, right? All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. We've obviously reached our time, gone a little bit over, so I apologize for that. Thank you for sticking with us. I hope this was an informative and good use of your time. If you have any other questions or would like a little more specifics as it relates to how this could influence your environment, obviously feel free to reach out to us. With that, I'd like to thank you again for your attention and I hope you have a great afternoon. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.